this homework assignment, I decided to build a proof of concept of cross-docket searching of Pacer-Pro's database. For those of you not in litigation, cross-docket searching is interesting because it can help you identify relevant precedent, like a sample motion for summary judgment filed in Southern District of Florida in front of a particular judge. First, let's talk about the data source. I used Mode Analytics, which connects to Pacer-Pro's backend, and then did some simple SQL queries. For example, you can see here I was interested in information like the case number, the case name, the nature of suit, etc. I joined these various columns together and then did some keyword searching, looking for things like motions that might have been denied. In the end, I decided to pull 2,500 random docket entries filed in front of Judge Donato in 2015 and export this information to Excel. As you can see, the data in the Excel is highly organized and therefore easy to search. This is because the courts require litigants to tag documents when they are filing with standardized descriptors. That said, you do have to be sensitive to the underlying information. For example, you'll note the Hernandez case, which is criminal and therefore doesn't have a nature of suit. In our final web app, we'd want to build in functionality to ensure end users didn't miss these potentially relevant case filings. For my next step, I transformed this data to JSON data and loaded it into my seed file. My app will access the seed information through Sequelize, which is basically a JavaScript library that talks to databases. For now, however, let's switch over to the front end and take a look at my home page. Here, for example, I wanted the end user to know that they would be searching across filings in front of Judge James Donato from 2015. I also wanted them to be able to input a particular search term. Let's see what that looks like. Here we see case filings where the docket text mentions a summary judgment. These hyperlinks take you back to the full docket sheet with all associated documents so that you're quickly able to access context. Next, I thought it was important for end users to know the database that they were searching across, so I listed out all of the cases we actually pulled back. One thing that was interesting to me was that although we pulled 2,500 docket entries, that actually only translated to a mere 22 cases. Here, I enable the end user to search by nature of suit. For example, we might want to look at False Claims Act. Of course, on a later iteration of this web page, we'd need to take into account circumstances like the USA v. Hernandez case discussed earlier. I also created a page where I would be able to upload additional information. Eventually, of course, we would just do an API connection to the full Pacer-Pro database. As a last step, I wanted to do some improved filtering. Here, for example, I might want to not just search for motions pertaining to summary judgment, but also include the word deny. Let's take a look at what that looks like. Now we have 3 separate search terms, and this is where things start getting interesting. One question that often comes in is, how often is a particular motion type denied? In this first docket entry, we can start to see some of the potential problems with this type of query. For one, this shows motions for summary judgment that were both denied and granted. In order to handle this type of situation, we'd need much more sophisticated search filters. What I would be more interested in, however, is enabling end users to tag particular entries themselves. So, as a researcher, you'd be able to digest relevant information and then mark whether or not it meets your specific criteria before downloading a report. What's fun about all of this is that once you've got some very basic coding skills, this type of web page is really quick and easy to throw together, allowing you to get your hands into the data and begin to surface relevant information.